So my name's Julian Lee. This is part of the PermaBee workshops, and we've got guest presenter here, Anil Gupta, who's our Waste Education Officer. And here we've also got Graham Hope, who's our
Coordinator of Waste Operations.
Coordinator Waste Operations.
Yes. Thanks,
yeah.
Graham.
This is part of Graham's.
Hello. Hello.
So today, what we're really looking at is understanding the functioning of the recycling centre, which is where we are right now, and how to use it, and also where it fits in relation to our regular bins at home, recycling bins. And I don't know about you, but I always find it a little bit confusing. So I'm hoping to get all those questions cleared up here and now. And of course, just before we move on, I'd like to pay our respects to the traditional owners of the land, the Gadigal and the Bidjigal people, and pay respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So thank you for attending this workshop. This will be recorded and put onto Council's YouTube channel. So you can, if you missed a bit or other people want to hear it, let them know about that. Thanks, Anil. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Julian. Yeah, thanks for all of you for attending, and welcome to Randwick City Council's Recycle Centre. About the Recycle Centre, I'll give you a bit of background. This centre has been set up like, say, about 10 years or so back. And the current situation of the centre, the way it is set up and done, is something which has evolved over the years. The centre primarily caters to items which actually you shouldn't be putting in your yellow bin or in your red bin. Like Julian, you mentioned that the confusion about what can go in the yellow bin and what not. Honestly, there are times when even I'm confused. So there's no really an answer which can say that everybody's right or wrong. There are questions, things change, packaging changes, and we're not able to catch up with the times.
And it can be different in different councils?
Yes, it does. And a lot of councils work differently, think differently. So the way we want to work at Randwick Council is, we talk to our recycling contractor, the person who processes our yellow bin waste, which is Visi at the moment. So we speak to Visi, and basically what are the contaminants for them, which is acceptable and easy, is where we make it work. See, for them, like for example, the three biggest contaminants in the yellow bin are soft plastics, clothing, and household batteries, small batteries. Now, all these three things actually are recyclable, and you can bring it to a recycle center, but not in the yellow bin. So theoretically, it is recyclable, but not in your yellow bin.
So you have to come and bring it here.
You have to come and bring it here. So that is an issue and a challenge. We are working out ways how to make that easier and better for people to do it, but it's all work in progress. But people can bring it to the recycle center. And we also want to tell people that, hey, if there are things recyclable, put it, which can go into yellow bin. You don't have to drive all the way to the recycle center. So you can use your yellow bin. But it's things which you cannot put in your yellow bin and which should not be in your red bin. Otherwise, like things like X-ray films, you would automatically bring it and put it in your red bin. But these can be recycled and brought to our recycle center. Wearable clothing, some people will want to donate it or do something. Bring it to our recycle center. It's sent for proper reuse, recycling, and those kind of activities. And it also evolves with the market conditions, or where the recyclers are and what happens. So things like that is what we want to do. The center primarily set up by some funding which we received from the state government, and the state government also supports us by providing service of for the paints, the fluoro globes, cartridges, and other few items which can be recycled. And these are called problem waste, which should not be in your red bin, or of course definitely not in your yellow bin. So basically things are there which basically we're looking at how we can divert waste from landfill. We want as less waste which goes to landfill as possible. So that is the key for the whole purpose of the recycle center, is that. Like you buy a new TV, nobody's buying small TVs anymore. And it's having 45 inches, 50 inches, 60 inches, 70 inch TVs. So you're going to have large cardboard. It's not going to fit in your yellow bin. you'll have polystyrene with it, which cannot, again, should not be in your yellow bin for sure. And you can't cut it and put it in your red bin because it's going to start flying everywhere. You don't want. But these are recyclable. Bring it to our recycle center. But also we tell you, when you come to a recycle center, try and separate things and bring it here. Don't bring the polystyrene with your cardboard inside the cardboard packaging. Otherwise, you're going to spend oodles of time here trying to separate it. Because please check it, pre-separate it, check what the recycle center can take on the website, separate it and bring it. It's easier for you to deposit in the appropriate receptacles or the bins provided. And it also then reduces the time you spend here, which makes it easier for the people behind you to actually not wait too long. And I think that's something which, especially due to the coronavirus situation, it has got exacerbated because now a lot of people have to wait, and that becomes unnecessarily, everyone is time poor, and so you want to make sure everything is sort of works well. And things like contamination of the, soft plastics, for example. We want to make sure that you bring all the soft plastics which is acceptable. Check our website. We have a link to the RedCycle website, which basically are the recyclers. And there are items which I will show you as we go along in this later session, as to what are the items which are not acceptable and what are acceptable. And,
can you just show a note, what do you mean by soft plastic? Is that soft plastic like in a milk bottle?
No, that's not classified soft plastic. A milk bottle is a normal plastic which can, you can just give it a quick rinse. You don't have to give it a massive wash. Give it a quick rinse, put the lid back on, and empty bottle can be put in the yellow bin.
Okay, so I heard a couple of things in there. You only have to give food containers a quick rinse?
Just a quick rinse. You don't have to give it 100% like it has to be crystal clean. No.
And the other thing is the lid can stay on.
Yes.
Even if they're different materials.
It doesn't matter because, again, as I said, working with Visi is happy their machines are able to separate that. And having lids on also makes sure that what happens is the smell, if there's a small odor in the bottles or the containers, doesn't escape into the into your bin and also then in the truck.
It's good for everyone to keep
good
the
for
lids
them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So not a problem. But if you remove the lids, it's not a problem anyway. And so soft plastic. You said these are the types of soft plastics we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's lots of these, and the website of RedCycle is very clear. There's link to our website into the RedCycle website. Tells you what can be done and what can be bought and what cannot be bought. And contamination becomes a big issue because then they reject the full container bags of plastic, and then we are forced to then send it to landfill, which we don't want to do.
Okay, that's very important.
Very important, yeah. And same thing with polystyrene. We have this issue as well. There are a few different types of polystyrene, like things. Just to give a quick example, bean bags. All polystyrene in the bean bags is not necessarily recyclable. And so if I tell you that, okay, you bring your polystyrene from your bean bags, that'll be not the right thing to say because it is confusing. But there are quite a few of the bean bags where polystyrene can be recycled. So I'll show you later in the program the types of polystyrene which are acceptable, which are not. And even if you like things like the TVs and the other equipment where there's polystyrene, please check if there is sticky tape on it. Remove the sticky tape and make sure the polystyrene is not wet or very dirty. Just give it a little little bit of love, not a huge amount, but a little bit of love, and that makes it easier.
Thanks, Anil. I might just mention to everyone that if you have a question along the way, at this point, feel free to send it in through the chat. And if it's not going to be covered, I'll bring it up here and now. But if it will be covered, but either way, at the very end, there'll be open question and answer.
Yes.
But if you've got something urgent now, feel free to send it through the chat, including you.
Yes. Anyway, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
So no, that's all right. So, and is there something, Graham, which you think you want to say something about the recycle center specifically?
Well, you were talking about polystyrene.
Yeah.
We actually densify the polystyrene here on site. So it goes into a machine, it's all crushed up, and then it's heated up, and all the air is extracted from the polystyrene, and it comes out in tubes. And that's the reason that, like Anil said, we need to have the sticky tape removed from it. It needs to be dry and reasonably clean, because that plays havoc with our machine if we have contaminants in it. And that means if it's highly contaminated, it goes into the bin.
So if we don't pull off all the sticky
If we
tape,
don't take all the sticky tape off, and we don't catch it, it goes into the machine. It'll jam up the machine. It can stop us from our production for 3 or 4 days while we have it serviced, and we don't have the space to hold that amount of polystyrene. We go through quite a lot of polystyrene on site every day, so it's very important that we keep that service going. Similarly with soft plastics, we had a soft plastics collection yesterday, and 12 of the bags of soft plastics were rejected. So they didn't even leave our site, they're going to landfill, purely because it was the wrong sort of soft plastics. And because of the environment at the moment, recycling is a very, very tight margin for the actual recyclers. So they're being a lot more pedantic about what they'll accept and what they won't accept now. So it's very important that we get it right. Good to know. We don't have the number of staff on site to be able to sort things that you don't sort for us. So we really need you to help us out when you do bring the material to us.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ram. And so it's basically the concept here, as you mentioned before, just reiterating, we collect a lot of items. Randwick Council is probably the only metro council in Sydney which has got such a wide variety of items which you can recycle and bring to the recycle center. So we want to continue this service in a very positive manner, and we want to improve and add a few more items to it. But to do that, we need support from the people, from all of you, to bring things in pre-sorted and make sure that there's no further contamination in the items. So that really will help us a lot. And as Julian mentioned, keep sending us the questions, because that's what makes it. We want to make it as interactive as possible, so we are able to keep answering the questions as we come along.
There is a question now.
Yes.
I think you were going to cover it later when we walked around, but there's quite a few different types of polystyrene.
Yes.
So the question is, which types can be recycled?
Yeah, actually, I can just show you that right now, because that's yeah. I'll show you here now. As you can see,
you can use the joystick to change it too.
Yeah. So the tick boxes are the ones which you can actually. Is this coming up? Yeah. Okay. This type of polystyrene you can bring to the center. So the green ticks, the red ticks, no. So just have a look and see that's what the whole confusion. It's always confusing. People think that polystyrene is polystyrene, but it's not. Unfortunately, there are different categories of plastics in there. So some plastics can be recycled along with this polystyrenes, others cannot. And that's the key for us, to make sure that we have the correct polystyrenes in the machine, so that it doesn't clog and doesn't do. And then there's a market for it to get recycled.
So just because it might not be so obvious on the camera, can you walk us through what these, like how will we know which ones it is?
See, when you actually check, you see the white, this one is the white color, and when you press and see it, it is much more easier to, most of the polystyrene will be of this particular variety. Now we are getting some of this variety, which is a bit more like what I would call a little like a spongy type, as you can see, feel a bit more spongy
so more
type.
like a sponge.
Spongy. So that is not recyclable at the current moment. We're trying to see. And any black color, like any dark color ones, are not recyclable. So that.
And you might not be able to see it, but this is a foam.
It's almost like
so
a foam.
Sponge-like one, a foam-like one, a nose.
Yes.
But I'm struggling to tell the difference between these two.
Yes. Now this, it is hard one to see, to pick up, but if you read about it, this is like a polypropylene (PP), whereas this one is a polystyrene (PS).
But how would I know that at home?
It's hard. Most of it is sort of.
Are they stamped?
They not necessarily stamped. No. You have to look at it and take a chance. Maybe bring it, and the boys can sort of separated, but be sure, rest assured that if it is not, then don't be disappointed if it cannot be recycled. But don't dump it here. If you're in doubt, show it to the boys, even if it takes a few minutes, and then people can do the right thing. Because it is confusing. And sometimes if the particular boys are on, leave, or they're, there's a change of staff, so even they may not know. So it is a bit difficult, but we're trying to sort of educate as much as possible. That's why we keep these. It is available for people to have a look and see what can be. Yeah. So these are the standard questions we get. Now, one of the things which people keep asking me generally at some of the tours which I've conducted over the time is things like shampoo bottles. Now, where do the empty shampoo bottles go? Now, empty, people say, oh, I normally put in the red bin. Now, shampoo bottles are big. Your washing detergent bottles are big and all that. People say, oh, yeah, my red bin is full. But actually, when you think about it, a lot of things in the red bin should be in the yellow. So empty shampoo bottles, empty washing detergent bottles, and all that. Don't have to rinse them to the nth degree. Just a quick water rinse. Put the caps back on. Yellow bin. Another one clue is about your aerosol cans. What do you do with your aerosol cans? Empty cans can be put in your yellow bin. They're metal. Can be recycled. Very easily separated by the machines because it's magnetic. Yeah, I can show you. This is aerosol can. This has got still a little bit of liquid. So when it has got a little bit of liquid, not in your yellow bin. But you can bring it here to recycle center. So sometimes there's a fine line. Like as you said, confusion. Yes, it is. This is confusing. So if there is liquid in your aerosol cans, even if there's pesticide or those kind of items, if you can't finish it, keep it. When you come to recycle center, tell the boys, and there's a separate bin for that. That gets separated and then gets reused separately. There's a separate process for it. Yeah. And for these, this is what it is. Those are the cues. And how are we doing with the time, Julian? Are we?
We should start to
get
move into another section. But there is a question from Caitlin.
Yes.
And I think this will be best for you, Graham, which is how much of the product brought to the centre are processed on site, and also what are the outputs? Like the tubes of polystyrene that you mentioned. What are they then used for? So how much goes elsewhere, and what happens to it?
So we don't process anything apart from the polystyrene on site. We do decant the motor oil at the moment, so it goes into we tip it into a holding bay, and it's pumped out by an oil recycler. The polystyrene is the only thing that we process. Everything else is just stored on site and taken away by various contractors. Polystyrene, for instance, it gets sent offshore. It actually goes to Korea, as far as I know, and it's reprocessed, and it comes back as plastic park benches, plastic fence posts, items like that. So it is recycled, but there's no market or there's no industry within Australia to process that at the moment. So our recycler picks the polystyrene up from here, sends it to Korea, and then it comes back to Australia as recycled plastic.
Okay, great, thank you.
A bit of trivia, Julian. Like Graham mentioned, it goes to South Korea. South Korea is the only country in the world which processes 85% plus of the polystyrene. And so they are the best recyclers of polystyrene in the world. This bit of trivia. Australia, it's I think between 15 to 20%, and we hope that we can continue to increase it. So hence at the recycle center, we always encourage people bring your polystyrene. Don't throw it in the landfill.
And there is a drive within Australia to create a manufacturing industry that's capable of recycling these materials. There's a couple of smaller manufacturers. I think there's the biggest small one is in Victoria at the moment.
Yes.
But they can't manage the volumes that is being generated throughout Australia at the moment.
Neil, would you like to cover any of the other items over there quickly?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. I'll show you quickly. Yeah, you bring all your paint tins, half filled, full. If your paint tins are full and they are reasonably in good condition, we can even suggest that you put it on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace and give it away for free to people who want it. Once it comes here, it's not going to go back virtually as paint. It's going to be processed as fuel, and it's going to be a substitute for coal, which is fine as well. But if there's good paint, we encourage people, hey, put it on Mars. We get a brand new 4-liter tin or a 20-liter tin of paint, and people can't be bothered of putting it on social media to give it away to people who want to use it. And yes, any of your empty gas bottles which are out of date and not usable, please don't throw it in the bushes or anywhere else. Bring it to our center. It gets recycled metal. It's good quality metal, and it gets recycled. Then
I'm very happy to hear also on that note that the helium, the disposable helium, can be brought here.
Yes, yes, as well. Yes, I'll show you that bottle as well. Yeah.
So these ones, because the trucks won't pick these up, will they?
No, because it's dangerous. If it goes into a truck, it can cause a fire, and the whole truck can be a big major issue.
And you can't return them to the place you bought them from either.
Most of the time, no, they won't accept it. So yeah, so bring it to our recycle center. We have a safe way of recycling them and doing it. And of course, the light globes, as you see, please don't throw it in the red bin. This is an item which is normally 90% of the people, I believe, put it in the red bin. We would like you to separate it and bring it to a recycle center. Hang on to it, make a little separate thing, bring it here. We can do it. So yeah. So,
just while we're talking about paint, one thing to remember is if you've got empty dry paint tins, they can go in your recycling bin. So you don't need to come to the recycling centre with half a dozen empty dry paint tins. You can put them in your recycling bin.
yeah. That'll go in as metal. When Visi takes it, it separates, it gets pushed into by magnet into a metal recycling facility. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions, Julian?
Oh, Brendan's asked, can we bring electronic waste to the recycling centre? Old modems, computer parts.
Absolutely. Anything with the cord, you can now bring it to a recycle center. We request people to try and separate it into computer, TV items, and your light electricals, like things like your vacuum cleaners, your kettles, generally microwaves, those classified electrical items. Also, you can bring it here, but keep them separate, and there's a separate bin which goes for that for the time being. That's what we are processing, and anything with a cord, pretty much, you can bring it to our recycle center for sure.
Okay, great. Should we go into the groups now?
Yes, I think it's a good opportunity, Julian.
Okay, so everyone, what we're going to do now is we're going to put you into breakout groups, and the idea is that there'll be about 4, maybe 5 of you in each room, and here's an opportunity to take what you've just heard and apply it perhaps to your specific situation, and get the brains trust in your group to figure it out, because there's so many things at home that we're probably still not sure about. So here's an opportunity to ask away. You're going to have 6 minutes in the room, so that's about a minute each. Make sure everyone gets a chance to ask a question and have a chat. And if you don't feel as though you've solved it at the end, then definitely when you come back, we'll be asking you to, ask us the question that's still unresolved, or confirming what you've done. So maybe assign somebody as the spokesperson for your group before the breakout room ends as well. You'll get a 15-second warning. So just give me a second while I set up those breakout rooms. So what I'll ask you to do is unmute yourself, and perhaps somebody from each group just jump in, because there are only 3 groups.
Nicole, go for it.
Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
So either a report back or an unresolved question.
Are you open Saturday mornings?
Great. Sorry, just repeat the question again, please.
Are you open Saturday mornings?
Yes, we are. We opened last week, so we are open now from every Saturday, 7 o'clock in the morning to 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Helen.
But we are still operating in the in a COVID-safe way.
Yes.
And there's no U-turn at the intersection out the front.
Yes.
At the moment, to try to manage the vehicle movements a little bit better.
Yeah. So we are basically making sure that people still have access to the center, but we are the traffic will be slow on a Saturday, getting in and out of the center. So be mindful of the changes of traffic on Perry Street.
Good.
Sorry. And in order to help with that, council have also introduced until the end of July a curbside bulk green waste collection. So you don't have to come here on a Saturday to get rid of your bulk green waste. You can ring council and book it in, and we'll come to you. Fantastic. And that option's there until the end of July.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. So thanks, Sonia. You've used the hands up function. That's a great idea. You'd like to report back or ask your question?
Yeah. Yes, could I have a question, please? Can you hear me? Yeah. In our yellow bins, we got a sign in our block of flats saying, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you, Sonia.
Saying that Trump's in the yellow top. Yeah, but yeah, thank you. Then when the truck come for the collection, just pick them up and I'm sure they put them in the truck and they all break. So I don't understand why we are told not to put broken glass in the yellow top when they all break when they come into collection.
Yeah.
Could you explain that?
Yeah, good question, Sonia. Now, the reason we say don't put broken glass, basically the main thing of mentioning about the broken glass is basically telling you that we don't want broken, your drinking tumblers or any windows and those kind of items. Now, normally your broken glass would be basically a wine bottle or, beverage bottle, which is fine. But generally, if it is broken, what happens is it can get contaminated, and if you pick up other things with it, it can become a problem for the yellow bin. And that's the only reason we say.
I understand.
Yeah, only for that reason. But if it's a wine bottle which is cracked and stuff, so don't stress with it. You can still put it in the yellow bin. But
okay, I understand the difference. But wouldn't that be contaminated in the truck anyway when they break?
No, what happens is the truck will have all the glass which gets crushed. If whatever gets crushed, what happens is the recycling facility is able to pick it up. The glass being heavy falls down through what you call a sieve, which actually lets the glass, sort of fall down into a separate bin. So
Okay, thank you.
Hence, we are able to recycle it.
Thank you. I'll put my hand down.
So the recycle trucks are calibrated to not crush glass. They compact the recyclable materials, but they're calibrated to a point where their compaction does not generally crush the glass. One of the biggest issues with broken glass is it impacting into cardboard, and not only do we have the broken glass issue, but we lose cardboard because of the glass crushing, penetrating into the cardboard. Yeah.
Okay, then, thank you.
Yeah.
Caitlin, look like you might have had a question or a report back.
Hi guys, yeah, thank you. So I was in group 1 with Carol and Brendan.
Yes.
So we were just interested in, you mentioned before that lots of what comes to you guys is picked up by contractors and taken elsewhere. I guess it's a similar question to my first question. All of us were interested in like the life cycle. So then what really happens to the products after they're being recycled, for instance, and is most of that onshore, offshore, like with the polystyrene? Just a bit more context on that.
Yeah, makes sense. Actually, see, from your yellow bin, what goes, you see the paper and cardboard from the yellow bin is pretty much recycled in Australia. Especially what we send out from Randwick, it goes through the Visi paper mill itself. Visi has a paper mill on site, so all the paper and cardboard goes there. The bulk cardboard, what you send to us at the recycle center, is basically processed behind in Perry Street itself. There's a Aurora paper mills, and they recycle the cardboard here in Australia itself. A lot of the excess cardboard, when some of the other places we generate, like especially the businesses, the printing, waste printing, paper and everything else, that seems to, what happens is there is limited processing capacity in Australia, and also there's limited what you call market in Australia to use those paper items, recyclable paper. So hence that's then sent overseas for processing. The government of Australia is looking to stop the export of paper out of Australia, but I think that's the target is about 2024, 2025. So hopefully we can start processing most of it here in Australia. The other items, things like plastic bottles and things like that, part of it is processed in Australia. A big chunk of it is still processed and sent overseas. Hence, the overseas market, which were getting a lot of the recyclables, started getting a lot of high amount of contamination. So this contamination is basically landfill items, so which can't be processed offshore or inshore as well. So hence, our council has been requesting residents and also trying to educate as much as possible to say that don't contaminate your yellow bin. Look and see, find out what can be put in the yellow bin and not contaminate it. That helps in the processing and also the recycling process in the long run. So
Awesome.
we encourage people to ask questions, send questions on social media or even directly to the council, and we'd be happy to respond as well.
Was there anybody else that had a question or report back that they wanted? Okay, there's a question here. We spoke about Recycle. One of the groups spoke about Recycle Smart. Mentioned that they've helped take items to the recycling centre during the physical distancing phase.
Yes, Randwick was the first council in Australia to trial this service. It's an innovative pickup service where people can, sort of your fiddly items, like tricky items, like light globes, clothing, soft plastics, batteries, and X-ray films and things like that can be put into a bag and sent to and brought to the recycle center for a small, very, very small fee of $2. So yes, so that service has helped us to also divert more waste, and also because the team at Recycle Smart has been trained to use the bins correctly here at the recycle center, they are able to not add to our resource issues. So that is helping us in actually putting it in the correct bins and putting it through and then doing it. So that's sort of available, and yeah, Graham's been great. He's bought us a bag which Recycle Smart has developed and what they can use. So people can actually just sort of put their things in. Basically 4 categories of items, small e-waste as well, and what can be bought. So this has really been fantastic for us because, and also I think a lot of the residents have commented saying that it's been easy for them. A lot of people don't have cars, and some people are time poor. It's hard for them just to bring a bag full of recyclables to a recycle center. People living in Clovelly, Coogee, Maroubra, it's a fair drive to Metroville.
So for $2,
yes,
they'll come and pick it up.
Yes.
And they've been trained, so
yes,
there's less contamination for us here.
Yes, there's virtually zero contamination, because if there's contamination, they either give it back to the resident or they speak to the residents and let them know what to do. But generally, they've been pretty good. We've had almost 80% of the people reusing the service.
Fantastic. Should we do a little walk through the recycling centre?
Yes.
So you can see.
Yes, why not?
More up close.
Yes.
Feel free to ask questions either via voice or
send it to the chat group.
Yeah, either way. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we start here with the clothes? Because I know that's a.
Yes. Yes. The clothing is there. So we can just show the clothing here. we say basically wearable clothing. Basically, it's things which you would wear again. Think what, so hence somebody else could give it a wash again and wear it. So that's the idea of wearable clothing. Wearable belts, wearable shoes, even handbags and things like that can be bought here. So as you see here, we have the clothing bin, and which shows where the items are sent and what they do. They're part of the charity as well. And primarily most of these items are sent to people in need in Australia and also overseas. So there is a market right now for it, and hopefully that continues. There's also a project which is under trial to see if clothing, the fibers from the polyester clothing can be removed and used as plastic as well. So that's about the clothing. And Carmen will just move and show other parts of the center as well. So as you see, we collect ink cartridges as well. So you can bring all your ink cartridges to the Randwick Recycling Center, and this can be reused. If you can't come to Recycle Center, ink cartridges can also be dropped off at all office work locations as well. We collect household batteries. We mentioned that, shown that before. All household batteries, please do not put them in the red bin. We do not want household batteries in the red bins for sure. And we'll show you how many household batteries we are being collected now. As you see, we've got about 3 buckets, and all these buckets are getting filled up. As you can see here, this is already very heavy, this bucket with the household batteries. We get these batteries as well, your rechargeable batteries, which come from hand tools. We have smoke alarms as well. As when you come around there, you can show the smoke alarms. And we also have, we collect the light globes and the fluoro tubes. A lot of people are quite responsible. We get a fair bit of these fluoro tubes coming in, and which is great. But yes, there's still a lot which we need them to be bought here, all the fluoro tubes. We have car batteries. These, so we just had a collection. So luckily, otherwise there's always overflowing this area with car batteries. So car batteries, motorcycle batteries, and small batteries. This is Mobile Muster. All the mobile phones are already packed, ready for delivery to the Mobile Muster recycling places. And we'll show you as we come along the polystyrene machine, which Graham referred to. Is it's a very interesting machine, and how we won't turn it on because it can be a bit noisy, but we'll show you what the machine is all about and what comes out of the machine as well. So I'll get Carmen to come a bit closer, and she can show us the machine. This is the machine. It just feeds the polystyrene here. It crushes it up and blows it into the bags here. You may be able to see a little bit of the crushed polystyrene here, and then it comes out like a sausage here. It comes out, and this is what you see coming out as a sausage. Now this is still a little bit warm. It's just been processed maybe half an hour, 45 minutes back. And as you see, it's heavy. It's 1:100 is the ratio, and you can basically see it's heavy. This one could be close to about 8-9 kilos, is what my guess is.
Is basically 2 of these.
Yes, we will show. Yeah, 2 of these.
2 of these full. Create that.
Create this. So it gives you a perspective of how much. And this is something which is absolutely dangerous in your landfill. Let me be honest, it's toxic, it's not good. But with this, it is. With this, there's value to it. It can go back, recycled, and brought back to life again. And we'll move on. I'll just put this back.
I've got a few questions for you, Anil.
Yes.
If I can. There's a question about toothpaste tubes.
Toothpaste tubes,
What do you
yes.
do with them?
Toothpaste tubes, yellow bin. No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay.
All your toothpaste tubes can go in the yellow bin.
What about mattresses?
Mattresses, you book it separately in your cleanup. All the mattresses are now getting recycled in Randwick. We send it to a special recycler who collects them, and they are able to achieve. It's actually, when you say recycling, it is actually, they don't sort of make new mattresses, but most of the items are removed and used, and some of the mattresses are very good, in very good condition. The base and are then refurnished, and then most of the refurnished mattresses, which are very good quality and good shape and meet the Australian standards, are in high demand by Red Cross, Australian Red Cross. They need them all the time.
Couches similar?
No. Unfortunately, couches have a little different composition of the foam and other stuff. So for the time being, the couches are sent to a separate recycler. They do make process engineered fuel out of it. So for the time being, depends on the regulation and the market needs at that time, it gets reused. And it can be sort of diverted from landfill.
And what about white goods?
The white goods, Randwick, we collect white goods, but it's only for Randwick residents, because white goods now cost us money to send to a recycler. So a few years back, there's market for it when the prices of iron and steel were high, but now with the market softening worldwide, we are finding that it's we have to pay to send metal out. So hence we can. So we have a bin on top. If we have time, I'll quickly show the bin. Otherwise, we have a bin on top where you can come in and put it up. Otherwise, the other option is book it in your cleanup. When you book a cleanup, mention what you have. There is a way to say mattresses separate, metal separate, e-waste separate, and so those are the things which we can separate and bring it to a recycle. We bring it to the recycle center.
But once again, with white goods, we recycle the white goods. So they go to a scrap metal merchant who breaks them down and recycles the metals and extracts the valuable pieces out of the engines and all those sorts of things. If you've got white goods or e-waste that is usable, like Anil said earlier, try Gumtree. Try to find a reuse for it rather than giving it to us to recycle.
Correct.
Yeah. We get a lot of good stuff, and we don't know why people are. I mean, I understand people are time poor, but yes, take that few minutes. It's not easy nowadays to put something up on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace.
So easy.
It's so easy now. I think it would work. Julian, you would do it in a minute or less?
I'll do it in a minute.
Oh, there you go. So
here's my last question. That I'm not going to put this on Gumtree. Those icky plastic trays that the meat comes in with the little pad.
yes.
What do you do with them?
No, unfortunately, right now, some of them can be put in the yellow bin, but I would say safely put it in your red bin. Right now, unfortunately, that is the best solution. I do not want to give false hopes and say anything, but yeah, even Vizzy is not very happy that we get them there. So red bin, unfortunately, that's the only solution right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buy it from
So
a butcher instead of from.
Send it back to the butcher. Yeah.
Buy it from a butcher instead of.
Yeah, buy it from the butcher. Yes,
Instead
yes.
of
Instead of buying, yeah, support your local butcher. I'm sure they do a great job and give you great meat.
Is there any last things you'd like to show us?
Do you have any more time, or is it? Are we?
We can see one more thing.
One more thing. Okay, we can. Carmen will show us. Take us. I'll just quickly show you the amount of paint we get. As you see here, this is filled up. This is oil-based paint, and the next one is water-based paint. Absolutely fills up. It's crazy the amount of paint we get here at the center. It's a lot of paint. And we'll quickly show you the e-waste and the cardboard truck. I think hopefully we can be there and show you, and before we knock off. Just a quick one. We will show the e-waste. Yeah. This could be a bit noisy, so please bear with us. This is the cardboard. As you can see, the amount of cardboard coming in just gives you an idea that this has happened in the last maybe 5 minutes, Graham, I think. Yeah, just in the last 5 minutes. This is what has happened. And We'll show you quickly the e-waste.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing looking in here. Just the number of huge TVs.
Yes. You'll be surprised, Julian, the amount of TVs, the amount of stuff we get. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's, as you see here, Carmen's taking you through.
And would you say most of these work?
No, I think most of them probably don't work. Sometimes we do have residents who tell us that these are working, but it's of no use to us because we can't do anything with them. So we do encourage the residents to come. There could be a bit of echo, and we probably come back out. Yeah. Okay. There's just a bit of the soft plastic bags quickly, Carmen, and then we go back in because we're getting quite noisy now. Thanks, Carmen. Thank you.
Here just to wrap up, just the polystyrene started.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we can wrap up here. More in a nicer condition. As you see, the center is very busy. Can get a bit noisy. And yes, so we are coming to a more safer area. Maybe it's a bit outside, it's a bit nicer as well. And yeah, so any other questions, feel free to send it to the chat group.
Yeah.
And we will try and...
what do you do? What do you do with the paint?
With the
What do you do? What do you do with the painting? You know, the tints of the paints. Yeah. Paints.
What happens is it is sent to a processing facility where they are able to, you know, sort of separate the metal containers and put the paint separately. If some parts of the paint, if it's good, it gets reused and recolored for some, you know, sort of what you call lower quality application.
brown?
Yeah, something like that. But primarily, most of the paint is then used as fuel to power up as an alternative to coal.
Okay.
They burn it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end of this session. So I'd like to say thank you very much to Anil, to Graham, and behind the camera was Carmen. Thank you very much.
Yes.
This is part of a weekly series in our PermaBee program. We normally cover gardening type activities, but we thought we'd come here and have a look at the recycling centre. Next week, if you're interested, we're looking at seed saving. So feel free to register for that too.
And yeah, thanks a lot. And if you have any feedback, any different type of sessions, let us know. From the waste team and the sustainability team. Basically, we are all part of the sustainability for Randwick City Council. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
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 Bye.